Welcome, Space Watchers, and welcome from the IAC 2024 here in Milan. It's day number 4, and many of us are coming to their limits. At least me. Maybe it's a question of
I think
of
me
age.
too, definitely.
Hard work, great reception, less sleep. Come on, what can potentially go wrong? Milan reports this morning 15 degrees, which is nice and warm, but it's raining, more raining outside. As every morning, we are broadcasting here for you live from the DLR booth. And this morning, already I worked. I interviewed the head of the Australian Space Agency, Enrico Palermo, about the next year's IAC 2025, what will be in Sydney. Right, because Australia, that makes sense. And I know now their secret weapon, how they get people in. You want to know it? It's Tim Tam. Not available here in Europe, only there, and that's a reason to go there. So, go Australia. Oh, Emma, I have one for you as well.
Thank you.
That's not just me here. I'm always joined here this morning by our editor-in-chief, Dr. Emma Gatti. Emma, how are you doing today?
Welcome everyone, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. This is the 4th day of ISC here in Milan, and yesterday was kind of an interesting day, Torsten. We saw, it was a climate day, so there were several sessions about climate, environmental sustainability. There was also a session about IRIDE, which is an interesting Italian project. I think there were some interesting debate, or at least question, during the climate sessions, in particular about digital twin. We've been asked when we're going to have a digital twin that can actually predict the weather, and the answer was that we can already predict the weather, but when it comes to climate, which obviously is a different thing, we have to wait another decade. And they spoke about data sharing, the importance of collaboration. I wish there were a bit more practical session, I have to say, about climate. Hopefully this afternoon, maybe we will see some more go-to solution. Actually, the guest that we have in today, I think she will be able to give us some very practical solution when it comes to sustainability and climate change. Interesting, IRIDE constellation. It's an Italian project supported by the European Union. They had a full-hour session 2 days ago. Should be launched by 2026, at least the beginning. It's expected to be a constellation of constellation and complement Copernicus. And I'm really looking forward to see how it will evolve. It will be on time, which type of difficulties it will face, because spaces are, so there are always difficulties. So, and I think another highlight that I had was a very interesting session about Mars sample return update. It's a bit of a contentious, like all of you know, that the Mars sample return, unfortunately, was riddled with complication. The budget was not right, so in the end, NASA decided to stop it, or to re-adjourn or postpone it. And yesterday, ESA updated us on the connected mission that they have, which is Earth Return Orbiter, which is a mission that is attached to Mars sample return. And the bottom line is that we're going to move the launch from 2028 to 2030, and the departure from Mars is being moved from 2032 to 2035. So we had a sliding of a couple of years due to the fact that the Mars sample return mission has been challenged in a certain way. And I think this was an interesting update from ESA.
That doesn't mean we have to report about it at the IAC 2035?
We were still discussing about it. I don't know. I hope in 2035 we will be able to actually see some results, because, besides jokes, if we finally get samples from Mars, it will be scientifically outstanding. It will be a renaissance of spatial and planetary geology. We will finally be able to study Mars with Earth instruments. I don't want to get too much into that, because that's my postdoc, so I don't want to get into the story, but when it will happen, it will be a game changer for science, absolutely.
So the following programs are delayed by hours.
I'm not going to take over that,
about
sorry.
Emma's postdocs here.
Yes, on Mars. Torsten, how about you? What was your highlight?
No sessions for me yesterday, no chance, but I took literally a handful of videos, or we took literally a handful of videos at the Austria booth with companies over there, which was fascinating. first time for Austria to have a booth at the IAC, and so they give their companies and their researchers a platform to show their research and their products here. But a clear highlight for me yesterday morning was an interview with Nobu Okada and Nick Shave of Astroscale, which was fantastic. And short side note here, I know Nobu since 2017-ish, and whenever we met, we said, hey, let's do an interview, let's do a podcast, and just 7 years later, hey, here we are. So, time flies. At the show floor, I think the reveal of the Axiom astronaut suit, we talked about it yesterday morning with Prada, was worth to mention, and we can show it, we can see it here upstairs at the entrance or the exit, depending which directions you go.
And it's quite flashy, right?
It's flashy. It's very cool. Yeah. But again, I'm coming back to your remark yesterday. I'm keen to see who will be the H&M
version of it. Thank you.
Of it.
I'm glad
maybe it's leaking and it coming with. But
the stitches are not really vacuum.
H&M is great as well. So and then I think I was absolutely emotionally touched yesterday by the Carmen dinner, an event I could attend in the evening, and that was in a breathtaking, very old palace in downtown Milan, and that was just cool. I think that's it from my end from yesterday. Back to the show. Today, this morning, and I think we established that now to have a guest. We have another fantastic guest in our morning show, and this time it is Annekatrin Metz-Marconcini from the DLR, and she will tell you more about her fascinating project, and I'm handing over Annekatrin now to Emma. Annekatrin, do you like to join us here?
Thanks for having me. Welcome, Annekatrin. So I'm actually happy you're here today because, as I mentioned yesterday, I went to a couple of climate sessions, and I felt they were a bit still too up in the air. So yes, we were discussing about data sharing, about transferability, about collaboration, but I felt this was still on the political level. Mm-hmm. Now I would like to get down to the science and the technology and ask you a very straightforward question. Mm-hmm. What are you working on? You are a scientific researcher at DLR. Do you have any project that is actually tackling climate change issues from space, and how you can space help?
I mean, we have a lot of projects in our research institute, but one of the highlights in the last year was the EO Solar project, where we actually mapped for every building in Germany how much energy you could retrieve if you would retrofit them with solar panels. So this was quite a nice project, and which was intended for politicians and decision makers.
So you said you basically mapped for every single building in Germany.
Exactly. How
much energy you will retrieve if they were covered with solar panels,
exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So do you have an answer to give me?
Well, we do have still a lot of potential.
Okay.
Depending on the federal state, the numbers are between 5 to 20% on already used energy, but we still have a lot of potential.
So how satellite gets into it? Like basically,
this is actually already this is based on airborne imagery.
Okay.
Which is already taken from the federal states by themselves. So we use existing data to make this analysis.
Okay.
And this is a digital surface model describing the height of the surface of the Earth, and we analyzed the slope and the direction of every slope, and included also information on the vegetation for possibly shadowing the roofs.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think to remember this is part of the Green Transition project, right? It's part of a bigger project.
I mean, this we had a pre-project together with ESA for Austria, the Green Transition Information Factory, the GTIF, where we were part of the Sustainable Cities, where we exactly did a similar analysis for the PV as well as for the green roofs.
And so, what's the next step now? So you worked in Austria. You applied in Germany. What do you think is the progression for EO?
I would hope that we could roll it out to other countries in Europe to do this analysis and provide it to the politicians and decision makers to really get the people install PVs on their roofs, put incentives into place.
Of course, because you always need to stimulate the population with some incentives. This is where space technology has to collaborate with policymakers and governments, because it's a long process. You know, you get the data, but then somebody has to implement the policies to actually transform this into action.
Exactly.
And one of the questions that I had is, one of the bigger criticisms that we get when it comes to solar panels is that they take up a lot of space. So if you really want to build a sustainable energy transition based on solar panel, you need to cover entire areas of Earth with solar panels. But from what you're telling me, we could gain up to 20% more energy just using our roof, correct?
No, some countries have used already 20% of the potential, so we still have a lot.
A lot, okay.
Yeah. So, and I see that we have a lot of roofs which we could retrofit. We don't need to put it on valuable agricultural land. We can use the roofs, parking spaces, which are already sealed.
Yeah.
That would be really important.
Fantastic. Is there any other project you're working on?
Well, I'm working also on wind energy.
Okay.
Yeah, so where we try to find all the wind turbines globally, and this is a really important information for forecasting the energy amount of the wind parks. Yeah.
Fantastic. Annekatrin, I thank you so much for this interview, for some final practical solution about the problems, the environmental problems that we are facing. Thank you so much for your work and your contribution.
For having me.
I of course have a Tim Tam for you to join us then in Australia next year. So thank you very much. Okay, thank you, Emma. Thank you,
This is our
Annekatrin.
new way to thank our guests. We give them an Australian
we start bribing them with some sweets. That was great. I mean, that was really an application.
Yeah, it was very
has an
interesting.
interesting
Absolutely.
value add. So, what's up today?
Well, today there has been a plenary about human space flight on Earth and begin, and it was very interesting because it was about space biomedicine, and I will report on it tomorrow.
Great.
And then this afternoon there is something about, again, application of space for food. There are another Mars session, so I will report tomorrow, but Thursday is definitely another interesting day for... interesting enough, the human space flight opportunity session was proposed by the Chinese Academy of Science, so there is also a bit of geopolitics kicking in.
That's fantastic. So what we will do is we will stream another Space Cafe live today for you. And that will be that at 4 o'clock today. So if you want to join the live stream, and I can tell you that will be different. That will be quite a show. Because I met our guest yesterday and shared a table at the Carmen dinner, and she knows how to entertain. And Emma will be joined this afternoon by Dr. Nelly Ben Hayoun Stefanian from Nelly Ben Hayoun Studios. And just have a look, and poor Emma, you have to control this energy
I
of
won't
your
control
guests.
anything. It's going to be wild women energy on stage, so don't miss it because it's going to be quite interesting. Nelly is an artist, so we're going to see as definitely a different view from an engineer, a scientific view of space, and I'm looking forward to host her on stage this afternoon.
You will rock the floor. Then, not to forget, for the people that are here, at 9 this evening, it is Yuri's Night. And Yuri's Night is one of the events you don't want to miss. And if you haven't registered, there are still a few tickets available. And you can register as a guest of SpaceWatch.Global, where you get a 10% discount with SpaceWatch plus YN, or you just ask us how to do that. And we hope to see you there. And I think that's from us for the moment, for this morning. We wish you a wonderful day here in Milan or at home. And with that, SpaceWatch out. Bye.
SpaceWatch out.